Welcome back to the Blue White Tailgate Show. Let's talk some recruiting. Penn State struggled a little bit last year. Rivals.com ranked their class of 2011 the 35th best class in the country. But the story is completely different for the class of 2012. Rivals.com and almost every other recruiting service ranks them among the top 12 recruiting classes in the country at this present time. Let's take a look at Rivals.com's top 5 and see where Penn State sits in. You got Texas, Florida State, Michigan, Florida, and Miami of Florida in their top 5. And as you can see, Penn State right now is ranked by Rivals.com in the 12th position. Personally, I think it's almost a certain lock that Penn State will end up with a top 10 recruiting class on National Letter of Intent Day, which is February 1st, 2012. The reason for that is quite simple. Penn State already has 17 verbal commitments, and 7 of those 17 verbal commitments have at least 4-star status from Rivals.com. But much more important than that, 13 of the remaining players that they're actively recruiting are either 4-star or 5-star status, according to Rivals.com. 3 excellent examples are defensive end Noah Spence from Harrisburg Bishop McDevitt High School in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. This young man is the #1 rated defensive end in the country. Will Mahona, outstanding running back from Fitch High School in Austintown, Ohio. He's Ohio's #1 rated running back for the class of 2012. And then there's Kent Taylor, coming all the way from Land O'Lakes, Florida, who's the #1 rated tight end in the country, and he'll be visiting Penn State for the Alabama game. But it's an outstanding opportunity for Penn State. Probably the #1 reason right now why Penn State has a top 12 recruiting class is the fact that between August 10th and August 12th, they got 3 outstanding recruits: an All-American wide receiver, Eugene Lewis from Plymouth, PA, All-American cornerback, Amani Reeves from West Roxbury, Massachusetts, and All-American defensive tackle, Tommy Shutt from Glen Ellen, Illinois. Let's take a closer look at each one of these 3 players. Wide receiver Eugene Lewis from Plymouth, Wyoming Valley West. He's 6'2", 185. I personally believe he's the best skill position football player to come out of the coal regions since Rocket Regib Ishmael went to Notre Dame in the early 1980s. Then you got a situation where you got Amani Reeves, 5'11", 185 from Catholic Memorial High School in West Roxbury, Massachusetts. My #1 weighted cornerback in the Northeast for the class of 2012. And finally, you got Tommy Shutt, a 6'3", 310-pound defensive tackle from Glenbard West High School in Glen Ellen, Illinois. This young man is rated as a top 5 defensive tackle in the country. It's an outstanding group. Landing those 3 players may have given Penn State the best recruiting class for a week that they've had in 5 years. In our next segment for recruiting before the Alabama game, we'll look at the great unofficial visits that they're having for the Alabama football game. Over 50 kids from the classes of 2012, 13, and 14 will be on hand for that Alabama game. Steve and I will be back, and we'll break down the opening game of Penn State versus Indiana State.